What's going on? I'm Dr. Joe.
I'm Dr. Brandi.
Listen, we have a challenge for you today. All right, in this episode, we're talking about traditional education versus non-traditional education. You're going to hear a lot more, but the focus is that. And what we want you to think about is, what is it that you desire for your life? Right? Some of us, we borrow the goals of the people that are raising us, right? The people who are overpowering us, they're telling us what to do. But what is it that you want? So we want you to write down what it is that you desire for your life, your personal life and your professional life, and determine, is traditional education a route, or do you take the route of learning from maybe people who've been in the industry, entrepreneurs, because there's so much education out here. There's so many resources out here. You don't always need to go to college. Now, I love college. We love college. But once again, you pick your path. So before you watch this episode, write some stuff down. Think about it. And as you hear us, make your decision on what you want to do. Anything you want to share, baby?
I mean, even consideration for a trade. That's the only thing I'm throwing in. Like, what is your path?
So much money in like plumbing and being an electrician. Think about that. So what is your path? That's our challenge for you. As you watch this episode, think about it, figure that out.
And write it down.
Write it down.
I am Dr. Brandi.
I'm Dr. Joe.
And you're in for a
hell of a ride.
Everything life, love, and legacy. So I'm known as a licensed psychologist, global speaker, trainer, leader in the mental health game.
All right, that's cool. All right. Well, a lot of people know me as an international speaker, peak performance coach, and I've written a few books as well.
And we also happen to be married.
We're married 12 years right now.
Almost. You're always rounding up. And we have 2 kids. 2
beautiful boys.
And we are entrepreneurs and doctors.
Yeah. So listening to us, you're going to hear everything identity and purpose. Let's see. Money. Mm-hmm. Business. Mm-hmm. Relationships.
Mm-hmm. And everything health and wellness.
So buckle up.
Let's ride.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay.
What you got, baby?
No, you already know. We're going right into the weather report.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right into the weather report. So it's snowing. It's snowing. Yeah.
Where the hell are you?
It's snowing. It's snowing. It's sunny out. Listen, it's sunny out, but it's snowing. Let me tell you what that means. What that means is it's a beautiful day.
Okay.
And we had an interesting conversation before this podcast.
We did. We had a very intimate conversation.
Conversation. And so it's snowing. So it's not bad. I didn't say I didn't like snow. I mean, I love the sun more.
You don't like snow?
No. I said I like to ski when I can.
Oh.
So I do like snow, but sometimes when it's snowy, you're like, man, I don't want that snow. And it's snowing just a little bit. But all is well.
Snow. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, just a little snow. But it's sunny out.
Okay, I got it. What is my weather report? What kind of energy am I bringing today? I think, you know how like there could be a little dew in the air? Like a little crisp.
Yeah, can you speak?
I thought I was.
You was.
I'm talking to you. And you, of course. And you. So, okay, yeah. You know like a dew in the air? Like where it's like going like to be no, babe, like
DEW.
Yeah, DEW. Or there's a little moisture in the air. It's a little chilly, but the sun is out and it's gonna warm up later in the day.
For sure. I like that one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So you snowing.
I think no. I think I could.
Thanks.
I think I could actually. I like that one.
Yeah.
Instead of snow, it's a little dew.
So you gonna switch it up on me?
I'm gonna take your weather report. It's a little dew in the air. I like that.
I love like this metaphor approach to our mood.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it really makes you think more deeply.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your weather report? How about that? How you feeling?
Yeah, we talking to you. I don't know if you can see me, but we talking to you again, right? So what's your weather report? Think about it, right? But what's top of mind for you? Talk to me. Oh gosh.
Okay, I brought my notes.
But wait. Since you got hella notes, let me go ahead and give you top of mind for me.
Okay, go.
Okay, what's top of mind for me? Because I'm sitting here, you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Damn. What's top of mind for me is the Supreme Court decision.
Oh God, I didn't even add that to my list.
Yeah, so they made a decision where in the United States where you cannot look at you can't use race-based type of preferences in a sense.
Oh, but that is not accurate.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. You can't use race-based. I want to use the right language.
Variables.
Variables. That's a good one. I don't want to say preference. Race-based variables for applications for students trying to get into your college, right? Which, once again, you've been wanting to talk about it, is another racialized situation. Because if you know the history, right? You can look at the numbers, you can look at the data.
Oppression is real.
Oppression is real.
Marginalization is real.
Listen, isn't it funny how they go from Black Lives Matter and what was the with the women? How am I forgetting that one? The name of it specifically.
Feminism?
No. Remember when all that stuff was going down during the pandemic? And Harvey Weinstein got caught up in it. Me too. I wanted to make sure I said, but they go from being down with all of these things that's trying to make sure that everybody has equality and equal, and then they go right to this.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's that. I think that there is a subset of the population that's tired of being marginalized, and we're saying Black Lives Matter and we're saying Me Too. But I do think that there's a bigger system of oppression at work.
No doubt.
Ain't nobody changed up. This is how it's been.
And guess what? I wasn't surprised.
Oh, me neither.
I'm never surprised when the U.S. does stuff.
Well, they passed that ban in certain states.
Right.
Florida. So it was Florida, even Michigan. Didn't Michigan have, what was it, Proposition 2 or something like that back in the day?
It's all over the place.
Yeah, but now it's a federal thing.
Right.
So, I got to add that to my list.
You got enough on your list.
That's real.
You the only one I know still use a pen. Don't nobody be writing no more.
Well, so contrary to popular belief, it's in most of our best interest to actually write sometimes because it exercises a different portion of the brain.
I know.
And it helps you with recall.
For sure.
And comprehension.
But
especially for my visual learners.
Very true. I type mine in my phone and I'm always
Yeah, but that's different. That's for different. No, babe, physiologically, it is a different mechanism in the brain when you have to actually write it down.
You're right. I know.
Point blank and the period. I had to do biology twice. I know what I'm talking about.
Now let's get into yours because you about to go into a whole nother situation because you see this motor mouth here be going.
Don't start.
I'm just saying.
Okay, let me do my list real quick.
Right.
Okay, so top of mind for me, there's been a lot of things. One of them was, did you see the Shaq statement, Shaquille O'Neal? Everybody was talking about it in Twitter and stuff.
What'd he say?
Like how he was talking about his ex-wife, Shani.
No, I didn't
and
see
how
that.
he was like saying like he was really giving her flowers and like being accountable for the ways he mistreated her in their marriage. And he made a statement. He was like, I still have love for her. Like she's still my wife or something. And everybody got up in arms that he said that because she's married to somebody else.
Yeah.
So they were like saying like it was mad disrespectful that he said that.
Well, I would have to see it. I think I would have to see it just to and hear it in the context of it. Do you think it was? Did you hear it?
I thought people missed the point. I thought maybe the words, like the play on words, was like quick, but I mean the sentiment was really pure.
So he was just showing love.
He was showing love. He was being accountable. Yeah. He was saying, "I still have love for her." Like. And people was just like in their feelings. I mean, it's
people in their feelings about it. You can't really do nothing without somebody getting in their feelings.
So superficial.
You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, maybe one day we'll actually talk about the Dave Chappelle's last stand up because that was another big hot topic. Ooh, let me write that.
Oh my goodness. You gonna write down everything.
We should do a TV and a book review.
Okay, can you just stick to top of mind so we can get to what we talking about today?
So that was on my mind because I was like, oh, I wonder what people think about this. And then the other thing that was on my mind is recently, like friendships, Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of women in particular in my life that I just adore. Like friends, professional acquaintances over the years. Yeah. And I don't really... Honestly, I'd be so consumed in the day-to-day at this stage of my life that I don't really kick it with them that much. And so I was just really feeling like missing them and like wanting them. But I also didn't have the energy to just be on the phone all day calling everybody. So I sent this text message that was just like, I want you to know I have love for you, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I just felt like a big topic in the sense of like, how do you navigate strong friendships? Oh, thanks, baby. Strong friendships and marriage and parenthood and work and a relationship with yourself, and it's just like, it just made me feel away. So that was on my list.
Wait, no.
Okay, next.
You're not nexting. Hold on. I wonder if the way in which you're feeling that as a woman, if men feel like similar, like trying to juggle everything, right? Because I know, me and my boys, we've grown up together since like middle school, but I just wonder, like, do we? And I'm thinking about it now, like as you were saying, I was like, So that's a.
Isn't that a good thing to process? Yeah. Like, how do you do it? Especially because there's all this language in like social media world, like check on your strong friends. Well, what if all your friends strong? So what? Now it's an extra thing for the strong friend to have to do for the other strong friend?
That's true.
Like, it just seems like, I don't know, we have these very one-dimensional expectations of people. Uh-huh. And so I don't know, it just made me start thinking about how you show up for others and still take into consideration your own needs and all that. So that was on my list. And then the other thing on my list was...
Is this the last one?
No, there's a few. I'm just going to list them real quick. I'm going to skip a few.
No. Say them. Say what's on your mind. I do not want to, what y'all call it? I don't want to... listen, I'm trying to make up something like outside of mansplaining. No, that ain't mansplaining, but I don't want to overtake your time.
You don't want to silence my voice?
The
patriarchy. I was thinking in general about joy and happiness and peace. Yeah. And like, I've been on this tip lately around not just mental health, but whole health, and how like this holistic kind of orientation to health and wellness. Mm-hmm. And I know we talk about health and wellness a little bit in each like episode, but I really kind of want to do at some point like a deep dive into what does it mean to live well? Mm-hmm. Like, what does that mean? How do you operationalize that? And I think it's bigger than self-care.
Well, I would argue that it's not self-care, it's soul care.
Oh, yes, right? That's a word.
And so you have to always continue to evolve and work on like mindset, heart set, and soul set, so that you can be in fully aligned with yourself, right?
I endorse that message.
Because once one of those is off, you still can thrive a little bit, but it won't be the same as when everything is in alignment.
Mm-mm. You'll have success, but you're not thriving. Yeah. No, I endorse that message wholeheartedly.
Oh God!
I'm supporting you keep going? Today? You see how
I'm supporting both of us, Black creatives.
That's very true, but I'm just saying I wanted to represent for my husband today,
right,
and it went with my pants. So.
Is that because of the conversation we had this morning?
No,
you trying to be nice?
No, okay. Not at all.
I'm just making sure.
I was nice even in our conversation.
I think we know how to talk to each other.
I know.
So that's the cool thing. In my mind, you don't even know. I'll be having you in jiu-jitsu moves.
But you know what, honey? We didn't. You know what?
I'll be having you in the well, I'll be having you in like the mother.
That's not nice.
I bet you all couples be feeling like that. All couples. I've never put my hands on no woman.
Would never.
Right?
Like,
but
guys.
I'm just saying. In my mind, sometimes I be feeling away, and I be like, I got her in the double, triple lit, whatever.
Okay.
And she just wiggling like.
We be battling it out. That's not nice.
But I'm just serious.
Okay. I love you. Anyways, and yes, I have no concerns in any way about my husband.
No.
Like, come on.
My mama, my mama don't play. My mama come out of nowhere like, oh my God. Don't you ever.
Right? And David is ex-Marine, so... he remembers some things. Okay, and then the last one was, a couple people that stay stuck. Like, I remember when we did our pet peeves. I know one big pet peeve for you is like when you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about being stuck in habits and stuff, and like, how do you get out of them? Like, even me personally. Oop. Get it together. Like, even me personally, like, how do I get out of my old habits? And then I had like...
Wait, because that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I think it's important just to acknowledge it briefly, because what I share with people all the time is when you're stuck, when you feel burnt out, you feel lost, right? One of the things that people continue to do too much is they say, I'll figure it out. And that's not real, right? You got to ask for help. That's the bottom line.
Well, and what's so interesting is like that's a part of figuring it out, is being resourceful, soliciting support, soliciting perspective and wise counsel. Mm-hmm. Like that's a form of that.
And not seeking support and counsel from people who are just as broken as the individual
that's
is.
everybody.
No, that ain't everybody.
I'm just kidding.
But no, those were good. Those were good. I mean, that's a lot. Talking about. You have any
Well,
left?
I do want to add the one you talked about, and I think maybe that's where we go today. Is we have, this is all about life, love, and legacy, and we've talked quite a bit about our origin story and our relationship, and some of the challenges in our relationship, not all of them. And then we've talked about grief, we've talked about parenting, but we even have talked about work a little bit from like where we are now and having to make adjustments, but the academic journey, especially since what's top of mind for you is the Supreme Court decision.
Right.
It's like, it's been a journey. And I'm over here teasing about how I've had to fail biology a couple times in order to know some things. Like the academic struggle, especially as a person of color, especially as like a first generation college student or graduate. Nobody talks about first generation graduate students.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's I got some stories for that.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But
so maybe we get into that for people that are either
we getting into that.
Well, let's get into it, baby. Like people that are either in the journey, like they're getting a master's or a doctorate, or people that are doing a career change and trying to decide if they want to go back.
Yes, but it's deeper than that, because I think the question I want to start with is traditional education or non-traditional education. What I mean by that is college degrees or no college degrees.
Yeah, that's a part of it.
Because we just had a conversation 2 weeks ago about people getting honorary doctorates.
Yeah, you feel away.
Right? I feel away, but I also understand that you do have people that do some amazing work in certain career spaces. But the thing is, you can't run around calling yourself a doctor in the sense as though you went through the academic rigorousness, if that's a word, right? Is that a word?
The academic rigor.
The academic rigor.
Yeah.
Right? My PhD is not in English, okay? So don't get it twisted. But it's interesting, and because one thing I will say is sometimes those folks who do get the honorary doctorates, they're making a lot more money than somebody with just a PhD.
But I understand your sentiment is that on some level it's kind of disrespectful.
Yeah.
It's like you have to give credit where credit is due. Like it's not
It's a lot. It's a lot. And but I think the question is, and what do you think? Because we've both worked at institutions, right? College setting, academic institutions. We both worked in K through 12 institutions in some capacity, right? And entrepreneurship, right?
Right.
So what have you learned? I guess, what do you think? I don't even want to go to what have you learned. What do you think? Like, what did you not receive from your traditional academic journey that you wish you had received so that your entrepreneur journey would have been easier?
Oh, everything. Let me tell you, this is my perspective. I do believe that formal or quote unquote traditional, if that's what we want to call it, higher ed, so college and graduate school, I feel like it gives you three things. One,
I'm pulling up something while you talk.
I need your undivided attention.
You got me. Go ahead.
I think there's three things. One of them is content knowledge.
Okay.
So it helps you become an expert in that it's in an isolated way. Content knowledge. Okay. I think 2, social capital.
People don't know about social and cultural capital.
Social and cultural
capital.
Access to different kind of people, different economic statuses, a certain like prestige even. Like it just gives you more social capital.
Well, okay. Can you just really...
And cultural capital.
Just give a definition of what social capital is and a definition of what cultural capital is, so it's very clear.
I'm going to just put
simplify
it in a nutshell. Social capital is the asset, the equity of relationships.
Right. Building networking, building relationships, understanding how to navigate, That
don't mean you understand, but it gives you access. It gives you exposure.
Right.
And cultural, it helps you to develop more interpersonal skills because you're just dealing with different kind of people.
With different types of people.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and even kind of this mirror of yourself, like your own cultural identity, I feel like is tested a lot in those spaces. So, okay. So yes. So that, and then the third thing I think it gives you is I think it nurtures is resilience, perseverance.
Yeah. And a great example of that is if you do go to college, you're gonna get told no. Like let's take financial aid. Financial aid gonna have you running around, and some people like, you know what, I'm done. Right? What? They're gonna be like, I'm done with this, right? And so
filling out paperwork.
Yeah, but it gives you the ability to take no's and become resourceful also.
Yeah, and just develop tolerance for distress. Like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what you gonna do?
But some people do give up. They're like, you know what? I can't take this. Y'all telling me to do this, and then you're telling me to do that. And so there are some people who never finished college, not because they weren't smart or they couldn't get through, but it was because all of the other stuff that came along with college.
And I will say, and in this way, it directly connects to my entrepreneurship journey. It has helped me develop tolerance for when that happens in other spaces.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I think one of the best places to develop that skill can be college, because it's kind of like, the stakes aren't really as high.
True.
In a certain way. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for education. I think college was incredible for me. And I think in part because, as I look into the camera, I am a Panther, and Panthers find a way or make a way. Clark Atlanta University all day.
I know.
AUC all day. I am a
But you needed that.
I needed. Well,
you needed that.
You look real enthusiastic about why you think I needed that. But
No, not like that. But I'm just saying it was like the cultural capital. Like I thought
Clark
that was great for you.
Everything. It was one of the best decisions I ever made going to a HBCU.
Absolutely. I'm not knocking you. I'm giving you love.
Yeah. So folks need to donate. I actually need to donate. I don't think I've donated.
Don't start talking about donate.
Folks need to donate to HBCUs. We need to support HBCUs.
Yeah.
They change lives. And then, graduate school was a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, but what about you? What do you think? Like formal education?
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say, just to answer you really directly, is I think that it's an isolated form of learning. True. I don't think, while a lot of people that end up becoming counseling psychologists or clinical psychologists, they either go into academia, consultation, or a lot of us do private practice.
True.
They don't teach you how to run a business. They don't teach you how to do private practice.
And I'm a talk about that. And sometimes you have faculty who they're doing some amazing things, but they're not sharing that with students. And not only sharing what they do, but how they did it and how they got there.
Right.
Right. Unless you have like a more personal relationship outside of the classroom with that faculty member. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or professor. So I had to pull up. I wrote this book.
Went to some
No. I wrote a book called 5 Things I Wish I Knew Before Getting a College Degree.
Okay, what is it?
I'm not going to give all 5. Right? Okay. You got to get the book to get all 5. I'm going to give you 2 of them. Okay. Right? So the first one is we weren't taught how to brand and sell ourselves.
Right.
Right? And so prime example, when I started wearing my own shirts, I'm going to talk to the camera. When I started wearing my own shirts, right, and wearing my own merch, people was like, well, why are you always wearing your own stuff? Why should I represent everybody else's stuff and not represent my own?
You're right. This shirt. I'm about to go put my shirt on.
Well, it's too late now. We in the middle of shooting. So, but real talk, like we're not taught how to brand ourselves. And everybody have to understand, like you have some people that think you have a professional brand and a personal brand. Yeah. There's no such thing. When people say your name, whatever is associated with your name, that's your brand.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
And I always tell people, some people will work with you, right? Not because they like you, but they like what you do. But what you want is both, if possible. Now, everybody's not going to like you. But
and sometimes people work with you because they like you.
Right. And not because because what you have is great. Yeah. That's true.
And that's actually been a real lesson for me, because I've noticed that I have historically not been very great at social, like marketing myself or like branding myself. And
your name is Brandi. Ooh, you see that one? It was supposed to be corny.
So yeah, I haven't historically been that great about it for a lot of reasons. Like we've talked about humility, and we've talked about like how women are raised and all that. So we can get into that, but like, and I think that it has been like consequential to me.
For sure.
It has been really consequential to me, because what I do know and it's just now getting comfortable saying this, I know that I am an exceptional therapist. I'm gifted. I know that.
I like hearing you say that because you've been too humble for too long.
I know. And I know
humble can become docile.
Yeah, that's true. And very debilitating. Yeah. I also know that I am really adaptive and I have pretty good interpersonal skills and I'm articulate. I'm a good speaker. Mm-hmm. So but I don't really publicize things. Historically, I haven't done that very well. Yeah. And so it's cost me, but I know people usually work with me because they like me.
For sure.
And then they don't really even have an idea what I really do. So, and that's been the consequence.
And that's why the branding, the marketing, and selling yourself have to be understood. Right. And you have to be comfortable with talking about the thing that you're great at. Right. Or things that you're great at. Prime example, when I go speak, right, and when I hit these stages and everybody want to take a picture and buy the book afterwards, and I'm not one of those keynote speakers that I go in and right after my talk, I got to leave.
Right, you hang.
I hang around. Why? Because it's about nurturing relationships, talking to people, because what usually happens from there is more opportunities come, especially if I shut down the stage, if I killed it. You know what I'm saying?
And you always kill it.
And I always, come on now, give me some. Because I love what I do. Yeah. And I'm in my purpose, right? But that's part of the marketing as well, building relationships. And we don't talk about the power of building and nurturing relationships, not just saying, hey, great to meet you, let me get your card, but then the follow-up and the follow-through.
But I do feel like, now this might be controversial, I do feel like sometimes men do a better job of talking about how great they are, and women kind of tend to be sometimes more this is an overgeneralized statement on purpose, just to get y'all a little antsy, But I think sometimes we tend to be a little more.
I need you to speak in this mic. Do I got to come over there and fix it?
Is this better?
There you go, because it's real low. I need people to hear your message.
I got you, honey. But yeah, I think sometimes there's a gendered aspect to this, culturally, socially. But can we go back though for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we're talking about traditional, non-traditional education, and we're talking about how this has influenced our career. Yeah. But again, what was your college and graduate school journey like? Tell us a story. What was your journey?
Easy, simple. And once again, branding, marketing, and here, you turn this, baby. Turn this right here.
This right?
No, the big one.
Yeah.
Yep. Just turn it. I'm helping you. Now lift it up.
I got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, ooh.
And I thought you used to sing back in the day. You don't know how to control these mic stands?
That was a whole long time ago, before kids.
Shattered, but I'm not. That's her favorite song, y'all. But anyway.
Not anymore. Catch up. My new favorite song is... wait.
You don't even know.
I've had some good days. That's my Gammy song.
I've had some hills to climb.
That's my Gammy song right there.
Okay,
focus.
Oh, you was about to get me in my woo. All right. So, but the reality is, once again, right?
What was your story? Your journey?
No. I know where it's going. I graduated high school with a 1.6. I had a 13 on my ACT. I went to college. Community college first. Then I went to a 4-year college, and I finished with a 2.4, and I was playing sports all these times. Mm-hmm. Okay? But I was focused on playing ball. I wasn't focused on academics. I was focused on staying eligible to get on the field, but I wasn't focused on my grades. So I graduated with a 2.4, but then when I was working on playing ball, worked out for some NFL, in front of some NFL teams, played a little bit of arena, and it just wasn't it. And I ended up meeting Dr. Lonnie Duncan. One episode, I called him Dr. Donnie Lunkin because my granddaddy name is Donnie, and I just put, anyways, Dr. Lonnie Duncan. But I met Dr. Lonnie Duncan when I was working at Enterprise Rental Car, and I used to be topping sales in that company all the time. But anyways, I ended up getting into graduate school.
Pause. I would never say that. It's rare that I would have said that.
Well, why not? People should know you know how to say it.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm pointing out how, sometimes. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, goodness. So I get your point.
Women, cool. Go ahead. Yeah, I think we're conditioned that way. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Well, yeah, historically, this is a misogynistic, very male, white male. Anyways,
okay, sorry, I did distract you.
Yeah. But anyways, no. So I got into graduate school on a probationary status. So I met Dr. Lonnie Duncan, then I met Dr. Joe Morris, right? And 2 black men. And I got in, and because I wasn't playing ball or nothing anymore, I ended up getting good grades, right?
You could focus in a different way.
I was focused in a different way, right? And then people were asking me, hey, apply for the PhD program. I said, man, let me get this master's out the way first. So they kept asking me, faculty members kept asking me to apply for the PhD program. So I said, okay, cool. I applied for the PhD program. I did my interviews with the faculty at this institution, and the same people who asked me to apply for a PhD denied my ass. Like, how you gonna ask me to apply and then you deny me, right? The cool part is, though, right, if you ask me, God don't make no mistakes, right? Yes. Sometimes when you want to be somewhere, you end up where you're supposed to be and not where you want to be, right? And so what happened, I'm a hustler. So I ain't gonna share the game, but I'm a hustler. But what ended up happening is I went to a conference and met some other faculty members at another institution that was ranked higher than the one that denied me. I got in, and then I got trapped. I got trapped by this woman who made me marry her. And then
the lies of it
she got a job at another institution, and I ended up going there, getting a job there, and getting in that PhD program. So because I worked there, it was free. Bop.
You better let it work.
Bop, bop, hibbity.
Baby, you didn't get trapped. You got saved. Hello.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. See, if y'all in my generation, y'all know that song.
But yeah, but like, did y'all catch that? That like his quote unquote rejection or failure really became his victory. Like, quite frankly, because not only did you have 2 institutions that were even more reputable than the first one really advocate for you, but like, then it was paid for, like fully paid for. Yeah, babe, I think you came out a winner.
I hope so. I mean,
you went in a winner if I'm really keeping it real.
Come on now.
But, it was the right path.
For sure.
It was the right path. And because we're talking everything life, love, and legacy, I think there's a spiritual element to this too.
No doubt.
It's like, sometimes I truly believe sometimes things work out for the greater good in ways that you didn't see coming. Like what felt like a loss became such a major win. Well,
no, that's true. And I remember I did that video some years ago when we lived in Florida. And I basically was talking about oftentimes when we get a no, it's just a redirection to your yes.
Yes. To the right yes. The more appropriate and aligned yes. Yeah, that was the best thing that happened, actually.
There you go.
That was like the best thing.
Yeah. So what about you? I mean, you because you got your PhD before I got mine.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a surreal moment for you as well. But what was your journey like?
I mean, in some ways, a little bit similar. Like in high school, and it's so funny. Like I knew I was going to college. It's so, you know what? Maybe I'm not as humble as I thought, because I knew I was like, I just had this idea that I'm gonna go to college, but my GPA wasn't great. Like I was kind of like that. I did just enough to stay eligible for sports.
Wait, for sports? What sport did you play?
I know you bet not come for me on this. I was an astonishing competitive cheerleader.
First off, is cheerleading a sport?
Yes, it is, especially if you're doing competitive.
Competitive cheerleading or just on the sidelines cheerleading?
No, we were serious. Shout out to Coach Harris, who's a beast, okay?
She can't be that much of a beast. You couldn't even do a backflip.
You about to get in so much trouble, okay?
I'm messing with you.
What the viewers don't know
I'm messing with
is Gammy's in the background. And if Joe come for me too hard, Gammy ain't gonna have it. Ain't that right?
No, listen. I said that because you told me like last week, like I could never get.
But that wasn't my. You talk about alignment. That wasn't my thing. I was my jumps. I was a flyer. First of all, I was like 3 or 4 time MVP. Thank you very much.
There you go.
I think I was like the only freshman on varsity at one point. And I was captain for a few years. I made a name for myself.
At some point, though, you gotta tell the story when you went to Clark and you was gonna cheer Clark. And then you said, "This ain't the same as competitive cheer."
So I went to a predominantly white high school, and we did like really competitive cheer.
Real tight formations.
Yeah, real competitive. Yeah. And then I went to Clark Atlanta HBCU, and it was like,
you said,
like, "What is this?" I lasted a half a season. And I was like, this ain't hitting for me.
Right.
And it was still fun. Like, it was dope, but it wasn't what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I liked, and I think it's a different kind of athleticism, but I really respected the athleticism of the way that we were under Coach Harris's tutelage. So
tutelage,
yes.
Man,
like under her direction.
This is what I mean. You be coming up, toot.
And you could play with my expansive vocabulary.
You do have an expansive vocabulary. I give you that for sure.
But look, so anyway, I was kind of like that. I just did enough to be eligible.
I got you.
Eligible for sports, and then I actually remember one semester I did really poorly. I think I had like a 1.6 or 1.9 or something, and I wasn't because I had to have a 2.0. And actually, Coach Harris wanted us to have better grades. Yeah. So I remember one day she set me aside and she was like, "What are you doing?" She was like, "How dare you like do this when your grandparents do so much for you?" Ooh. And she would, because I had just gotten a car. I think I was like a sophomore or junior. She was like,
privileged. Go ahead.
Blessed. And so she was like, yeah, this ain't acceptable. And you're the captain? Like, get it together. Yeah. So then I had to like step my game up a little bit. And then even then I still just did the bare minimum. I think I finished like 2.9, 3.0.
That's what you mean. That's way better than.
I mean, yeah, but even then, when you know you're capable of more and you just not really doing anything. So then I just knew I was gonna go to Spelman, and they were like, "Yeah, no, you not." I was like, "That's where I'm going," and they were like, "No, ma'am." And I was 17 years old, sitting in the chancellor's office.
Probably
in
crying.
A suit, and I was crying because she was like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna make it here." And so I was like, "But see, I don't back down."
Yeah.
Much like you. So I was like, "Okay, well, what's my alternative here?" So I figured maybe I could go to Clark Atlanta and then transfer. And I got to Clark on probationary status, and with a 2.8 or 9. Yeah. I think I had a 3.0, and then like. Went to Clark, and then I just stayed. And then my motto. So one thing about health and well-being is you think of things that will help you navigate life effectively.
Yeah.
And people call them affirmations, but I actually stand on both affirmations, like feel-good statements, but also mottos, philosophies of direction. And the one that I came up with at that time was, I will never, ever, ever again be the one that stands in my way. Ooh. If something don't work, it ain't gonna be because of me.
Ooh.
So I went so hard at Clark. I finished in about 3 years. And I remember I always did full loads. I always kept 1-2 jobs. Like I was serious. I was like, yeah, this is not acceptable.
Yeah. So you was working and full-time student.
Oh yeah. And like full, so I finished early. And I wish I had good mentorship at that time, because I think I finished undergrad with like a 3.2.
Yeah.
Or between a 3.0 and a 3.2. And I remember, and then when I got to trying to apply for grad school, I struggled again. So if I had a good undergrad mentor, somebody should have said, "Don't you graduate early.
Right.
Get some classes you can A, so you can get your GPA up."
Yeah.
But I didn't do that.
Okay.
So then I started applying for graduate school.
And who did you meet?
Well, first, let me tell you. First, I applied to, this is a great story.
Because we got to get to our takeaways.
Well, okay, but hold on. So first, I have to say this though, because I applied because we talk about social capital. So I met a man who was an incredible guy in the field of psychology at another institution, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm about to go get a PhD because I know I'm gonna be a psychologist. So I'm gonna go get a PhD, and I applied to their program, having kind of known him a little bit, and I didn't get in.
Fresh out of undergrad.
Okay. And I didn't get in. And I was like, dang, I guess I'm gonna have to go get a master's first and then go get a PhD. Best thing ever. If I had went straight into a PhD, I would have drowned.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have handled it. So I wanted to go to a master's program. So I applied to a couple master's programs, and I reached out to the institution that we ultimately met at. And
Go Broncos.
Well, I wasn't going to say the name, but since you did, because now I'm about to tell a story, though. So I called.
You ain't got to say that. They got to figure out what Broncos. There's plenty of schools named Broncos.
Google it. So, yes. And I'm a proud Bronco, but, you need to be accountable for the choices you make.
For sure.
So so I called, because I was applying I did the GRE, and I didn't get a great score. So I was testing again for the GRE, and I called, and I was like, look, this is my GPA, this is my GRE score. Am I, keep it real. And the person that answered the phone, which at the time was the chair of the department, said, I don't think that you're basically going to cut it here.
Yeah.
He told me I wasn't competitive enough.
So now we've narrowed it down to it's a he.
So he said I wasn't competitive enough on the phone. So then after that, and he wasn't mean-spirited, but he was just like, nah, you don't meet the minimums. We want a 3.5 and we want this score. And I was like, dang. So I kept studying, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to look again. And I went and looked at all the faculty, and I found Lonnie Duncan.
Dr. Lonnie Duncan.
Let me tell you.
The late, great.
The late, great Dr. Duncan. And
Lonnie Duncan.
And I'm talking to him on the phone, telling him my story, whatever. He's like, look, come meet me. And he said to me, he was like, bring your CV. Like your CV is like your resume, basically. He's like, bring it and let's talk. So we talk, whatever. He's like, look, I ain't gonna lie. He was like, you're a risk. You know how you used to talk.
To be like,
he was like, you're a risk, you know? Yeah. He's like, but he was like, if you are who I think you are, you'll at least try.
Yeah.
What I found out later is he talked to my grandmother in the hallway and was like, I'm gonna look out for her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to advocate for her. And he did. And I can only imagine what that conversation was, because he probably had to really go to bat for me.
Yeah.
And they accepted me in the master's program on probationary status. And what it did, it gave me enough reassurance to stick with my motto. Like,
that you won't be in your
do not stand in your way. And this man is he's advocating for you. You ain't here on probationary status. You've done this before. You were on probationary status at Clark.
Yeah.
So don't be fazed by that. Go harder. Right?
I got you.
So I went harder. And then by the time I got through the master's program, they was like, are you going to do the doctorate? Are you going to do the doctorate? And then I did, and that was easy. It wasn't easy, but it was like,
But you had mentorship.
I had mentorship. Yeah. I had people advocating for me. And then I also had that thing that was like, not on my watch.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you had a journey.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah, no.
And can I say this too, babe, real quick?
You sure?
And then I'm going to be done for real. I promise. I'm sorry. But I think these are the things, like, y'all, I failed statistics 2 times in undergrad. I had to do statistics 3 times. And in order to pass it, I ended up having to do the accelerated class where I took statistics every day.
Yeah.
I had to do that. I failed biology twice. But by the second time, I was getting all the top scores. And it was like, yeah, because I failed it already.
There you go.
You can't be threatened by that.
Right.
And then in grad school, physiology was really, really hard. But as someone that specializes in trauma recovery, I know what the amygdala is. I know the limbic system. I know the neurotransmitters. I know. So you have to kind of fail up. Or what do they say? Fail forward?
Fail forward.
Yeah, fail forward. You have to.
But you're giving some the reality of, we fell down a lot.
A lot.
We had people who didn't believe in us, and at the end of the day, we're still called Dr. Joe and Dr. Brandi, right? And we're sitting here doing some, if you ask me, even greater work than a lot of folks who just do traditional jobs, right? And so I think my takeaway is
I just don't feel done.
Yeah, well, y'all see what I got to deal with, right?
Because
how's your day today, Brandi? So
babe,
at 7 o'clock I did this and at 8 o'clock and at 8:30 and at 8:31.
Babe, we didn't even talk about licensing exam.
We didn't even. So listen,
babe.
I know. Okay,
come on.
What do you want to do?
Bonus.
Okay, go.
How many times you take your licensing exam?
Listen, you have okay.
I'm streamlining. How many times?
Yeah, in order to get my license, coming out of my master's program, I failed the test 2 times. So it took me 3 times to get my license. And that's what happens when you're actually working somewhere and then you're answering questions. Like the book is one thing, but answering the questions as though you're working somewhere, that's another thing. So I failed twice and passed on my 3rd time.
Same here. I took the licensing exam 3 times.
And yours was way more expensive than mine.
Way more expensive. 4 hours.
You did the EPPP.
25 questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the statistics are really bad. Like it's something like 40% of people fail the first time or something crazy. And then if you're a minority, it goes up even higher. So I was one of those people. But I think what was great is that when I failed the first time.
You cried. I remember.
I did cry. But when I failed, maybe...
But you got to it, too.
I did. Right after I failed the first time, I kind of was like, dang. And then, but when I failed the second time, I think what happened for me was like, okay. Like I knew I was just going to keep taking it until I didn't.
Yeah.
And what all the little failures before were kind of like, they didn't really threaten my ego too much. It was just like, this stupid ass test. Okay. Right. I guess I got to just do it again.
Well, we did it. We got here, and I'm just gonna say this because I'm moving us to our takeaway.
Another story.
Yeah, because you better relax. This is my takeaway. My takeaway is this, okay? There is a place for traditional education. However, do not allow traditional education to program you to feel like there's only one lane that you could play in. Okay? Now, when you learn the game of life, and when you learn the game of how they educate people in the United States, you will also learn that there's some self-education that you must do in order for you to be able to live the life and career and have the career that you desire, right? And so what that means for me is I love and I respect the hell out of people who are entrepreneurs and who are doing it big because there's a learning curve that I believe they went through that you don't necessarily go through in traditional education.
Yeah, you don't get
right?
that.
And it doesn't mean one is bad or one is better. What it means is you have to choose what it is that you desire for your life and take the necessary route. And sometimes that means you have to go to college. And sometimes that means you don't have to go to college. For our children, and we've talked about this, if they don't want to go to college, cool. But I want to know your plan.
Right.
Because we ain't even talked about debt and all the money that they put, all the debt that they put folks in going to college. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for me, that's my takeaway, right? You get to choose wisely. And guess what? It's okay if you fall because you can get right back up, just like we did getting these PhDs and move forward, whether it's traditional education or it's entrepreneurship, starting your own business.
What is the thing you said? You said self something. Self-education or something?
Probably.
Oh, well, whatever that was is my takeaway.
That was good.
Yeah, it was. Well, I think it's an element of it that's really significant because people always say pick your path. Well, sometimes that requires a lot of insight.
Yeah.
Like, what is, I don't know. Right. You know, it's an intimidating thing. So yes, it's not a debate about is traditional or non-traditional better. It's like you got to pick the path that's in greatest alignment with your promise.
True.
And the work is figuring out what that is. My real takeaway is I'm not as humble as I thought.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah. And to me, that's okay because I believe you should be able to share when you're great at something. Nobody said to share it as though you're better than somebody else, but share it so people know because people miss out on opportunities because they don't share what they're great at.
Yo, that's a whole nother story.
All right, we don't. So listen. Anyways, we appreciate. Oh God,
that's the only reason I got paid better on my first job.
Exactly.
It's because okay.
What they say, you don't get paid your worth, you get paid what you negotiate.
And then there's like female oppression, but the likelihood is
but
higher.
even as a woman, I'm not saying that's not there, but even as a woman, it's some women out here that are beasts making sure they get what they get.
Yeah, but it's still not equitable.
No.
Like
no
if
doubt.
you,
I agree.
But yeah, takeaway done. All done.
So listen, anyways, this podcast is brought to you by the Diane Morgan Group and the Joe Johnson Group. Listen, this was a great conversation, but hey, you get to pick your path, choose the direction you want to go. But with that said, y'all make sure y'all follow us, y'all subscribe, and with that said, you've been on one hell of a ride. Take care.
That was long.